Hey, deal makers, welcome to the show where it's all about financial freedom with real estate. Let's do this. So AI is taking over real estate, and it is so powerful right now, and a lot of people really don't use it to the fullest. And I don't even use it to the fullest, but I've started using it in a very powerful way as more of an advisor. So imagine you have literally a coach or mentor, an advisor. You have access to someone who basically knows almost everything, right? It's a lot of experience. And how do you leverage that? And a lot of us, we really use chat to summarize, meetings or longer emails or articles so that, we have less reading to do. It helps us to compose emails, and that's pretty cool. But chat is very, very powerful in assuming more of an advisory role. So what I'm going to do here in today's episode is kind of walk you through a series of prompts using chat that get progressively better and more productive. So we're going to start over just chat. Hey, by the way, chat, how do I make $10,000 a month in real estate, and see what it comes back with, and see if we can use that as a way to kind of get to the outcome that is right for us. Because, we say, well, multifamily syndication is right for everyone, but is it? And so it really depends on your situation as well. And so using these series of prompts and the system I'm going to give you called the CRIT method, C-R-I-T, is really going to be a powerful way for you to chat more as an advisor, not just for real estate investing. That's what we're going to do here in this episode, but just in general, every time you want advice on something, use the CRIT method. It's a very, very powerful way to get to a more of a response that is right for you and is not as generic as well. So we're going to get to that and really kind of figure out how do we use chat to make us a better real estate investor. So let's get into it right now. All right, so let's start here with chat. I'm incognito mode here, okay, so that it's not influenced by whatever slant I have on real estate investing. So I'm just going to say, how do I make $10,000 per month with real estate, and let's let it rip. All right, let's see what it comes back with here. So rental properties, okay, that's pretty cool. Single family, multifamily, real estate syndications, passive or active, flipping houses, short-term rentals, commercial real estate, triple net leases, business acquisitions via real estate, self-storage, mobile home parks. Wow. Okay. Well, they both covered the gamut. Can you think of any other real estate that chat didn't provide right now? So to me, this is kind of overwhelming, right? It's like, well, okay, which one? Which one, chat? Which one do I do it? So let's see what we can prompt here and what we can get chat to share with us next. All right, I'm going to put in there, for each strategy, what's the timeline for reaching my goal? I work 40 hours a week as a software developer. I'm going to put this in there just because in 2004, when I quit my job, I was actually a software developer. So working more like 50 hours a week. Well, let's go. Let's see what it says for each strategy. What's the timeline for reaching my goal? All right, so let's take a look at some of these things. Rental properties, okay, 5 to 10 years. All right, so again, each single might net $305 per month. So this is a pretty long strategy. Okay, let's see. Multifamily apartments, 2 to 5 years if you actively learn syndications. So this sounds pretty promising. Feasibility with job challenging, requires raising capital, underwriting, asset management. Many start part-time. Okay. Passive syndication investor, if you have $1 million of capital to deploy. All right, so let's say I don't have that. So this is probably out. Flipping houses, 3 to 5 years if you flip consistently. One flip every quarter at 25 is $100,000 a year. Okay, but flipping creates large chunks of caps, but not passive income. You need to reinvest profits into rentals or syndications for long-term $10,000. Okay. So this seems to be a lot of work as well. Short-term rentals, okay, 1 to 3 years. If you aggressively acquire 4 to 6 units in good markets, each could net about $2,000. So that's pretty cool. Feasibility job, medium difficulty, high management demands, unless you outsource to a co-host or property manager. Commercial, self-storage mobile home parks, 3 to 7 years. Fewer properties needed, but upfront equity requirements are higher. Feasibility job can be done part-time if you're mostly an investor, but if you're an operator, it's closer to full-time work. So self-storage mobile home parks sounds like a little bit more work. This sounds promising here, and this sounds promising here. Again, my frustration with chat here is that it's giving you a lot of options, and it's not really narrowing it down. So the trick really is, how do you start narrowing chat down to a strategy that's actually going to work for your situation? Now, you can go in here and ask some follow-up questions about each strategy, and you should. Again, the problem with chat right now is that it's giving you too many options. So what I want to do is you have to ask better questions. There's a better system for prompting chat so that it gives you meaningful real estate strategies that are right for you. Okay, now that you've seen why ChatGPT's default advice falls short if you just query it like you normally would, let's see what happens when we give it the right instructions. I'm going to share with you the CRIT model of prompting chat. It's very powerful. You probably never heard of it before, but it's an amazing way to use chat in more of an advisory role to actually give you advice that's much more personalized to you. So let's get into that next. So what I did last time here is I asked the chat, how do I make $10,000 per month with real estate? And it really just covered the gamut. I don't know, it did basically included, the only thing it probably left out was maybe pad splits, co-living, but it has rentals here, got some syndications, flipping, short-term rentals, commercial. They basically cover everything. The question is, well, which one? And it lists you pros and cons. Well, this is good, this is bad, this needs money, this doesn't need money. And so it's not very useful. So what we want to do here, and then I asked it, give me some timelines for that. And this is interesting, but again, there's so much stuff here that I'm really confused about what really is going to help. So what I want to do here is I want to show you a better system, and it's called the CRIT system. Okay, it's by this guy here, Jeff Woods, the AI-driven leader. It's on Amazon. So what I'm going to do here is I want to paste this in here for you to take a look at, and CRIT really stands for context, role, interview, and task. And it's a different way of prompting a chat. And basically what it does is it kind of tells you, I want you to be this kind of expert. And interestingly, it actually interviews you. And this is the power of it. So let me walk you through this here. So context here. So this was me in 2004. I'm a software developer making $120,000 a year. I like my job, but I'm tied to a desk all day. At least that was at the time. Now I'm tied to Zoom all day. I love traveling, and I'm trying to plan a trip to Disney with my family, but I ran out of vacation days. I own a rental property. I flipped a few houses, and I like the income I get, but I need more time, bandwidth to buy more and manage these properties. I can't quit my job because it would take too long to acquire enough properties to replace my income. I don't want to sacrifice my way of living. I'm looking for a real estate strategy I can pick up as a full-time worker that pays me passive income, replaces my salary in 1 to 3 years. That's key. So that's context. Now, your role is to act as someone with experience in all fields of real estate, owning 3 of every classification of assets. Okay. Then the interview. You will ask me 3 questions, but ask them one at a time to gain deeper context about my situation and experience in real estate so you can better provide a solution. And that's really the key as well. Task. Then you will provide me with 3 real estate strategies that would fit perfectly with my situation and skill set that I can pursue while still working my developer job, but pay me meaningful income, passive income, so I can earn $10,000 a month. Then suggest the one best strategy you advise I should pursue. Because top 3 is pretty cool. So let's see what it comes back with. All right, so it's asking me, how much capital, cash, or liquid assets do you have available right now that you'd be comfortable investing into real estate over the next 12 to 24 months? So I came up with something like this. I have $50,000 saved up, but I'm only comfortable deploying maybe 25,000, half for training, acquisition, or fees if I know that the strategy will work. I'm also open to partnering with someone who has capital if that means doing bigger or more profitable deals, and I don't have to do everything. I'm open to raising capital, but I've never done this, and so I'm not sure how good I would be. Let's see what chat asks me next. So the second question is, when you say you want passive income, how passive do you mean? For example, would you be open to learning syndication, raising capital, which requires networking and some active, or do you only want to write a check and let someone else do the work? So, I mean, ideally, I don't want to do anything at all, but I already know with $20,000, there's no way I'm going to get $10,000 out of that. So I'm going to say I'd be open to learning syndication or accountable, but I have to be able to do it in my spare time. All right. So the third question, what's your comfort level with sales and networking? For example, do you enjoy talking to people about opportunities, presenting and building trust? Would you rather stay behind the scenes and let someone else handle that side? And this is really up to you of what you are, because this is, you're either more of a relationship person, or you're kind of a behind the scenes, maybe someone who's a little more operational. So yeah, let's see what happens here if I say I'd rather stay behind the scenes and someone else handle that side. Let's see. All right, so this is what it says here. It says passive investor, LP, but it says here to hit 10,000, you'd need 1.5 million to invest. I just told them I had 50,000, so I don't know why you're suggesting that, chat. Co-GP back office role. You partner with an active syndicator providing skills they lack, underwriting, systems, tech, or asset management while they handle capital raising. This lets you get ownership in deals without being the front-facing salesperson. Your software developer mindset makes you a good fit for underwriting, automation, or building investor systems. One deal can bring $2,000 to $5,000 per month in passive income after fees and equity. So 2 to 3 deals could replace your salary with 2 to 3 years. Requires learning, network, and find the right opera, but you don't need to be the salesperson. Okay, so that's pretty cool. STRs acquire 2 to 4 short-term rental property in strong vacation markets. Each property could net about 2,000. With partners, you can control 4 to 5 units in 1 to 2 year, putting near. This is a more active at the beginning, finding market same system, but if you outsource management, it can be mostly passive. Okay, well, that sounds pretty good too. Now, one strategy for you, given you don't love networking sales, don't have tons of capital, and want meaningful passive income, partners will go GP or operate side by side in multifamily syndications. Why? You understand real estate numbers. You can leverage your software, so you don't need to raise capital. 1 or 2 solid deals with the right partners could really get you to $10,000 a month in 2 to 3 years. All right, now it's very helpful. Do you want me to sketch out a roadmap? Sure. Let's see what roadmap you got here. All right, let's see what comes up here. Foundation, some education here. Focus course or mentoring program is worth the $5,000 to $15,000 investment here. Skill positioning, networking target, not broad, because you're looking for active syndicators. Okay, some setup here. Build credible, awful value. You're providing maybe some underwriting, deal flow, and then you're looking for a partner, an active partner. Now you're getting in month 7 to 12, you're getting into active deal flow. By month 12, you should have ownership in a 50 to 150 unit deal. Even a small slice can net $1,500 in cash flow plus back end upside. And then you're scaling up second and third deal, role specializations, income growth. At this stage, 2 to 3 deals could produce $2,000 to $5,000 in relative passive cash flow. And then you're transitioning into $10,000 per month. So this is kind of like the 1 to 2 year roadmap. And again, I did not prompt it with anything specific. I just asked me questions, and it may be a little bit different for you as well. But this is the way you kind of use chat now to kind of use it as an advisor that now is more custom to your situation. So you just saw how the right prompt can uncover a custom strategy that's right for you. And for most people, that means apartment syndication. It's just the number one strategy to get your goal of $10,000+ per month in the next 1 to 2 years. And here's the real question. Can chat actually help you buy your first apartment building deal, to help you figure out what to do in the first 30 or 60 or 90 days? Let's find out. So what we want to answer in this video is, okay, how do you do it? How do you do it? So we're going to get in here, and I want to help prepare to syndicate my first multifamily property in the U.S. Tell me the 5 most important steps of the syndication process to buy multifamily property, and then using those steps, give me an action item list of the things I need to do starting right now through the next 30 days. Let's see what chat comes up with. All right, let's see what chat comes back with here. Okay, I want to know most important steps. Number 1, education and foundation. All right, sounds good. Build your team. We talk about a lot, actually. Build your investor network. All right, start raising capital well before you have a deal. That's very good. Grow a database of investors, find and analyze deals, build broker relationships, secure capital, and close. All right, so action items here. Lay the groundwork, education foundation, read one syndication book, attend at least one syndication-focused webinar or training, create your own personal investment thesis, what type of property. So there's some setup we got to do here. Then we want to build a team. They got an attorney, property manager, mortgage broker. That sounds pretty good. And then build your investor network and create an investor database. Spreadsheet is fine. Draft your personal story, wire your investments, schedule 5 to 10 calls with friends, set up a landing page or LinkedIn post. Cool. Then week 4, deal flow and analysis, identify target markets, practice underwriting, so consider recurring weekly time block to review deals. Cool. End of 30-day milestone. Would you like me to extend this to 90-day? Sure. Okay, that's a lot. Heavy 30 days here. Let's see what we got for 90 days. All right, so we got days 130s, what we just had. This is pretty cool. Investor engagement deal flow. So expanding your investor list. You're sending out investor updates, email. That's pretty cool. Maybe an informal webinar to bring everybody together. I like that. You're underwriting at least 2 to 3 deals a week. Maybe you're in tour properties. You're narrowing down your target markets. Okay. So we got some investor engagement and deal flow. And then in the last third month, we're starting to line up some soft commits. Okay. You're building relationships with 1 to 2 key equity partners who could help fill gaps if you can't. That's very smart. Actually, we teach that as well. That's amazing. Now you're starting to make some offers as well. All right. It's a pretty strong, very powerful 90-day checklist. Are some key takeaways here, big lessons here, to make sure that you're using the right prompts. Don't use generic prompts, because at the end of the day, they're going to keep you stuck. Right? If chat gives me 6 different real estate strategies, confused mind says no. Right? So that's not very, very helpful as well. And your prompt really is the most important thing. That's why there's like high paid jobs around these AI prompt engineers. And it's so, so important, right? So be familiar with kind of what you want. Like what do you want, what your goals are, what your timeline, what your resources are, your current experience, and then really ask prompt chat to interview you about these things. And if you allow more than 3 questions, up to 5, one at a time. And I think invariable, when you provide chat with these requirements, hey, I want to make $10,000 per month and through real estate, but I want to do it in 1 to 2 years. What's the best option, right? It's I don't care how you prompt it. It's always going to go back into syndications, right? Because the whole idea of raising capital to buy $1 million plus properties, that's where the power is. That's the power of syndications. And one things we didn't talk about in the series that didn't really come up is acquisition fees. I think that's a super important aspect. It's not so much the passive income. I think that's really cool. But the reason that so many people can quit their job after just one deal is the acquisition fee, right? So if you follow this process through the prompts and you find a $4 million deal and you partner with a capital raiser who brings in $1 million and you split it, let's say 50-50, that $4 million deal is going to generate $120,000 acquisition fee for the 2 of you. That's $60,000 a piece. And it's a game changer, right? So yes, I'm going to make $5,000 a month in that first deal, which is super cool. But what's even more powerful is that acquisition fee, and that really gives me a runway. So let's say I got $10,000 per month that I'm burning. Now I got 60. I got a 6-month runway. Maybe now I'm willing to dip into the other $60,000 I have saved, or maybe even borrow against my 401k or IRA. And so now I'm doing this full time, and now instead of just doing 1 deal a year, I might be doing 2 or 3 a year, right? So now instead of making $60,000, I'm making $180,000 per year in acquisition fees alone. And so this is really, really powerful vehicle to get there. And this is something that you can do on the side. In fact, 100% of students that work with us do this on your side. The guidance is 5 hours per week, and this really makes us so powerful. Syndications really allows you don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to know everything yourself. You don't have to have your own resources. It's really a team sport. This is really why I love it so much as well. Now, there's an end, however, to the usefulness of chat. And this is really not because of chat's limitations, but simply just having the knowledge around you is actually not sufficient for you to be successful. And I say that because, years ago, we sold a $2,000 course, and it was an epic course. In fact, we have a newer version of that right now, but I no longer just sell that because just knowledge is not going to make you successful. You can have all the knowledge in the world, and you can extract a lot of knowledge from chat, it's still not going to make you successful, right? You're still not going to be in the right community around the right people. You're still not going to have an experienced person, a syndication operator looking over your shoulder, make sure you're not making a mistake. Someone who's going to hold you accountable. Someone who's going to make you walk away from a bad deal that you shouldn't close on. And then you're not going to be in a network that gives you access to capital raisers, or if you're more of a capital raiser, access to deal finders who are getting deal flow, right? So you need all three. You need the right system. Yes, that's very important. You need the right support around you. You also need the right network around you as well. So if you're serious about that, then take a look at us. We have our mentoring program. The best place to go is thefreedompodcast.com, thefreedompodcast.com. You can book a call with us and have a conversation around mentoring. And if you're not quite ready to do that, we have the Empire Builders Playbook. It's a 6-hour course that really walks you through all the way from single-family house investing, all the way through scaling with apartments, analyzing deals, raising capital, networking, all those things as well. So that's all at thefreedompodcast.com. All right, hope you guys were inspired today. Make sure you start using chat more strategically. I will catch you next time.